If your parents bought a house in their early 30s and you're still stuck paying rent, it's not because you failed. It's because the system has changed and no one told you. Today, I'll prove why millennials and Gen Zs are starting their life on a hard mode using real data, not opinions. All generations like to believe that they had it harder than the next one. Baby boomers often say, "We worked hard, saved our money, and built everything from scratch." And younger generations, meanwhile, are told, "You are lazy. You spend too much time with your phone. You don't understand the value of money." But instead of debating opinions or emotions, let's talk about facts. Because numbers don't care about nostalgia. They don't care about generational pride, and they definitely don't care about social media debates. To understand why wealth building feels so much harder today, we need to look at the economic environment itself, how it has changed. And housing is just one part of that story. Let's start with the biggest financial milestone for most people: buying a home. In August 2022, when the average millennial was in their 30s, the median house price in US crossed $433,000, while the median household income was around $75,000. Pause and really think about it. If you've ever done this maths in your head, you already know how discouraging it feels. Even if someone saved every dollar, every penny they earned, no rent, no food, no taxes, it would still take 6 years of the total income to buy the average home outright. And of course, no one can actually do that. Now, let's compare with baby boomers. In 1988, when the average boomer was around the same age, the median house prices was $110,000, while the median household income was roughly around $27,000. That's a little over 4 years of income. For a meaningful number of households, homes were affordable enough that aggressive mortgage payoffs was actually possible, something that's extremely rare today. Economists usually consider housing markets healthy when the home prices sit around 5 times the annual income. And for decades, the US stayed close to that benchmark. During the housing bubble of mid 2000, the price to income ratio rose to 7, and we all remember how that ended. And what's alarming today is that we have crossed those levels again without the same wage growth to even support them. And this isn't just inflation. While everyday goods have become more expensive over time, housing has outpaced inflation by a wide margin. And for much of 20th century, wages and assets moved together. But after 2008, that relationship broke. Home prices recovered quickly and accelerated, wages grew slowly. And the result is simple: young generations are not falling behind, they are starting further back. Imagine the same person, same discipline, same ambition, same efforts, dropped into two different decades. In one, assets are reachable. In the other, they are gated behind higher prices, higher debt, and tighter margins. And housing is just one example. The same pattern shows up much earlier in life in the cost of education as well. According to 2025 data, the average total annual cost of attending college in the US, including books, tuitions, housing, and living expenses, is $38,000 per student. That's a dramatic increase from the early 1960s when the inflation adjusted tuition was $2,500, meaning college cost has risen several folds over time. And when the cost of education rises this sharply, the difference doesn't vanish. Rather, it gets pushed into debt. And that's why student loan burden in the US have ballooned. Total outstanding student loan debt is now 1.83 trillion, owed by roughly 42.8 million borrowers. And today, the average student loan balance is close to 40,000 per borrower, meaning millions of young adults begin their careers carrying tens of thousands of dollars in debt. But higher education didn't just become more expensive, it also became more common. At the same time, more people than ever hold college degrees, which has increased competition for jobs. Entry-level positions now demand experience, creating a catch-22 situation for new graduates. And the pressure doesn't stop after college. Education debt is often followed by consumer debt, especially car loans. In the US, as of Q3 2025, average auto loan payments are about $748 per month for new cars and $732 for used cars, with loan terms stretching close to 6 years. And the result is mountain of auto debt, about 1.66 trillion nationwide, leaving many households with less room to save or invest. Add to that credit card, insurance, rent and utilities, and the margin for savings become extremely thin. And this is not a spending problem, it's a cash flow problem created by structural cost. And this is why so many people feel stuck, even when they are doing everything right. They went to college, they got a job, they avoided obvious luxuries, and still savings feel slow. And if this sounds like you, this is not a coincidence. Buying assets feel distant, and not because of failure, but because the system around them has changed. And the biggest change is the starting point. Earlier generations often started adulthood at zero or even assets within reach. Many Gen Z workers start below zero, carrying debt before they had a chance to build anything. This is why progress feels invisible. People aren't moving backwards, they are running on a treadmill that's moving faster. And if you have felt that this treadmill effect in your own life, I'm curious, where do you feel it the most right now? Housing, education, work, or everyday expense? Pause this video and let me know in the comments. So, welcome back. Let's now discuss another shift that makes life even harder now. Work itself has changed. People today aren't working less. In fact, they are working more, faster, longer, and in fact, they're constantly connected. Emails don't stop at 5. Work follows people home, of course, and productivity keeps rising. But wages haven't kept up the same way. In earlier decades, higher productivity usually translated into higher pay. Today, much of that extra value doesn't show up in the paychecks. So, younger generations aren't just facing higher cost, they are often doing more for proportionally less rewards. But there's another layer to this as well. Work itself also has become less predictable. Jobs change faster, industries shift more quickly, layoffs happen more with little notice. Even when someone is employed, the future feels less certain. And when income feels uncertain, people don't plan for growth, they plan for stability. And that caution isn't a mindset issue. It's a rational response to a system where small shocks carry bigger consequences. And when efforts alone stop being reliable, the focus has to shift from efforts to strategy. And since the problem is structural, the solution isn't about being perfect. Rather, it's about control. You can't change housing market or tuition inflation, but you can decide how exposed you are to them. And that usually means keeping fixed costs in check, especially expenses which are related to housing and vehicles, so that they don't crowd out everything else. It also means staying invested over time, even in small amounts, so that progress compounds quietly in the background. And in today's job market, increasing income isn't always about working harder. Sometimes it's about moving strategically, switching roles, switching companies, or repositioning skills when the opportunity appears. And this isn't about finding shortcuts, it's about adapting to a tougher system with a better strategy. So, are millennials and Gen Zs weaker? Or are they navigating higher cost, more competition, greater debt, and fewer safety nets than the previous generation ever faced? The data suggests that it's the second one. And if this breakdown helped you see the bigger picture, let me know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like the video. And if you want more honest, data-driven conversations about money, make sure to subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.